Happy good morning to all of you. This is it's actually night time right now when I'm deciding to record this. And something just came over me and I said, "Girl, record a video. Do a YouTube video." My makeup was already done. I had dance practice earlier and I was just like, "Why not?" So, welcome to Be a Better Baddie. Hopefully I'm not going to make any promises to myself right now or to you mostly, but this is me coming back to YouTube and hopefully staying on YouTube with my podcast. So, today we're going to be talking about the lessons I learned in 2023. We're wrapping up the year when this is coming out. It is December 18th, 19th. So, it's time for us to start thinking about the end of the year, thinking about the beginning of the year. I'm not necessarily the type of person who wants to set annual goals and follow that, but I am. So I like to set annual goals and then kind of break them down into mini milestones. But I'm in that mind state right now and I'm enjoying it. So today I'm going to talk about the lessons I learned in 2023 and hopefully you enjoy these lessons. I would love for you to share the lessons you learned in 2023 down in the comments because I feel as though we can all gain some more perspective, some more information. It's never too much. So share your lessons you learned before and let's get into today's video. So lesson number 1 is more money, more problems. And this can be taken multiple different ways. I feel like it's either the more money you make, the more problems you'll face, or it could be the more money you have to manage, the more problems you run into. This year, I purchased a new car and I had too many bills. I'm the type of person who gets overwhelmed. I like to just keep my bills to a minimum, the basics. Like, these are the bills I need to pay: water, light, gas, whatever other bills I pay. I pay a lot of them. So, student loan, so prior to me getting this new car, I hadn't had a new car and I hadn't had a car note in a couple of years. So, I was used to not paying a car note, yada, yada, yada. Got a car, had to learn how to manage the money again because now I have this extra added expense. This was something I was a bit more cognizant of because I'm at the age now where I've been making money for a while. I've paid my own bills. I've learned how to manage expenses, etc. So it was a bit easier, but it definitely hit me. So more money, more problems. And I see myself making more money as I'm growing older and gaining more experience and all of that, right? So I'm going to be having more money. And I feel like at every level, you need to learn how to manage that amount of money because it's different. The foundations, the fundamentals are still the same, but more money, more problems. Number 2 is everybody at work is not your friend. This one clearly has an entire story to it, which I will not share on Beyonce's internet today, but I was in a situation where I thought that the people I worked with were friends, were people who cared about me, were people who knew me, and when push comes to shove, I found out that all of that in fact was not true. Within my professional career, I had always blurred the two lines. So there was no like, we are strictly coworkers, we are friends. It was always like, oh, this is my friend. Like, we hang out on the weekend, we do all that. But I've come to learn that it's just trauma bonding. Like, you bond with people at work because you are going through this unpleasant experience of working. And when things change or when someone's not happy with you at work, they are not your friend. So I learned that the hard way. And I think right now I am 100% okay with not being friends with my coworkers. And I prefer it that way. I want to keep work separate now. It was a harsh experience for me, but I think it was a lesson I had to learn because I have been blurring those lines for so long. Number 3 is, what's the worst that can happen? They say no. Nobody cares if someone says no to them, especially if the worst thing they're going to do is say no to you. Keep it pushing. This applies to everything. Like, when I was applying for jobs, I was applying for any job that I was interested in. And it was literally, I remember there was like a director of diversity at Lululemon. I don't wear Lululemon. I've never had a job in diversity, but I was like, why not? What's the worst that happens? They either don't email me back or they say no. I feel like this can be applied to so many aspects of your life. So everyone doesn't necessarily have that muscle to take rejection, because essentially what you're saying is be prepared for rejection. And I know that that is easier said than done. And it takes practice, right? Being rejected and being able to pick yourself back up after that and not have that rejection necessarily be your claim to fame or be the thing that just ruminates your entire life. I feel like in the past, when I've been concerned about what other people would say about me doing something or think about me doing something, that's when I wasn't 100% confident in who I was. So I think that I've come to learn this lesson because I'm more comfortable with who I am. I'm kind of in this take it or leave it phase. Like, I know my flaws, I know my strengths, I know everything that comes with me. So at this point, I if you say no to me, I get it. I could probably rationalize it because it probably wasn't meant to be. So I know I'm speaking very generally right now, but this I think this is the ultimate lesson I learned this year, and it comes with a sense of freedom. Either you go for the thing, they tell you no, you learn the lesson, you do it again better the next time. I think it's just that plain and easy. But I know that that's coming from a place of privilege. That's coming from someone who feels confident putting themselves out there and isn't as easily teared down by other people's opinions and thoughts. So I understand that this comes with a certain level of privilege when I say this, but I hope that you all gain that privilege and that confidence in yourself over time. Okay. Keep listening to this podcast and you will get there. Number 3 is gratitude is life changing. So I started a gratitude series in November. I did 3 or 4 podcast episodes about it. And prior to that, I was doing gratitude exercises, but I hadn't necessarily done the research about it. So showing gratitude has so many benefits that I did not know about, like just making, not only does it make you a happier person, it makes you a healthier person. It makes you a person that's better at building relationships and all those things. So when I learned all of the benefits of showing gratitude, it made me more intentional about showing gratitude, not only to myself, but for others in my life. So that is another thing that I will continue. That is a great lesson that I learned, that gratitude actually does change your life. So if you haven't listened to those episodes, I definitely highly encourage you to go listen to those episodes, because I'm dropping some gems in there. I'm talking about how to show gratitude for your past self, your present self, and your future self, how to show gratitude to others. So all this beautiful stuff is in there. The next lesson I learned in 2023 is being the first to do anything is extremely hard. So I'm talking about first generation anything. And for some reason, the term first generation does not carry past college. And I don't like that. I don't like that one bit, because I'm still first generation. I'm still learning how to buy a house. I bought a house, right? But now I'm learning about things that I should have done when I bought the house. And I'm learning about the upkeep of a house. And I'm learning about how to network. And I'm learning about how to ask for help. Like, I'm still learning so many things and skills in life and still being comfortable with those things. So being first generation after graduating high school or college or even getting your master's, PhD, that is just the tip of the iceberg. You've went through one system. Now you need to go through another system of adulting, and it's not that easy. So I think it really hit me this year when I was like, I graduated college. I was first generation, but I'm still first in everything and learning. So it's very beautiful. It's a very beautiful thing to say that I was the first in my family to do so many things, but it's also so frustrating to think that everyone else sort of has a leg up. Well, not everyone else, but some people have a leg up because their families have already done the things that they're going through, so they can ask them for their advice. They can, get some pointers from them. And it really reminds me of this TikTok I saw a few months ago. Maybe it probably was not a few months ago. Please let me stop lying. It was a few weeks ago. And it was this guy, and he was saying the advice that your parents have for you at some point, like it doesn't matter anymore, because if your parents haven't been in the same rooms that you've been in, done the same things you've done, at a certain point, their advice no longer serves you. And it's so sad to think that, you know, my mom and my dad will never understand exactly what I'm going through working at a corporate job, and the frustrations that come with along with that, etc. Do I think that their advice is still valuable? I do. I think my mom still gives pretty good advice. Am I at the point now I'm kind of like, sis, that doesn't work here. Yes, yes. I'm able to go through the information she gives me. I have more discernment now. So I still appreciate her advice. She's a really good thought partner. I'm able to ask her questions, and she still has empathy for me most times. She still has empathy for me. So I think that was very interesting, because I never thought about that. And yeah, at some point, your parents' advice just can't serve you anymore. So being first generation is figuring out those lessons. And if you choose to have children, then maybe giving them the lesson, and, really starting a new tradition is wild. I don't want to get too deep into it. The next lesson I learned is that friendships and romantic relationships should have similar standards. They really should. With our friendships, we put so much intimacy into those, building those, maintaining those friendships. But I think these are the relationships that are the quickest to give up on, or the easiest to find an issue in. And yeah, I've clearly had experience with this year, and of course there are two sides to every story, but I feel as though friends I've had in my life, some of them really let the men that they are romantically interested in slip away with so much more than they allow their friends to do. And I think that any person, any woman that is male centered, this is inevitable. I'm also learning that not every person necessarily cares to maintain friendships. Like, I don't know. I just thought at my age, I wouldn't run into people who are like, my man is my number one, my everything. That's cool. That's fine. That's dandy. I want you to have your man, but also, are we not calling our men out for doing things anymore? Or do our standards just drop? And I think that I want to talk about, like, just having friends with similar values. Like, you and your friends don't need to be the same people, but you should have similar values, because let me tell you something. When these standards and values are being discussed, someone's going to feel judged because you do not feel the same way as them. And yeah, I'm going to leave right there, but that's something that I do want to eventually talk about, but more about the friendship standards. We, as humans, as a society, feel like intimacy is only reserved for romantic relationships, but in reality, your romantic partner cannot be your everything. They cannot be your shoulder to lean on for every situation. And I think that not investing so much into your platonic friendships is only doing your romantic partner a disservice, because that's a lot of pressure to put on one person. We don't like to feel too much pressure to be somebody's everything. Sure, it may happen, but to be like, you have to be my everything, is a lot of pressure. And then the last lesson is, being Delulu is not always the Salulu. I love how we are all embracing being delusional, chasing our wildest dreams. I absolutely love it. I'm doing it. We're here. But when it means ignoring your intuition, do not do it. So if you have a feeling in your gut that someone doesn't like you, do not be delusional and say, no, they probably do like me. Trust your gut. Trust your gut. Do not be delusional just to ignore your gut feeling, okay? So I want us to continue being delusional, but selective delusion, okay? Not too much. Not too much on it. So with that, I am going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for tuning in to this very impromptu video. If you are listening to this as a podcast, hop over to YouTube. Hop over to YouTube. Give me some encouragement, you know. Let's continue this over here. If you want to connect with me, you can find all of my social medias in the description box. And I've recently changed my name on Instagram. I was Big Queequee for so long since whenever I made an Instagram, but Big Queequee is a nickname from high school, and it's been ew. I don't want to say 20 years. Hold on. Let me count. Whew. Y'all, I thought I was so old. Why did I think I went to high school 20 years ago? Anyways, I graduated from high school 10 years ago. So the name itself is 10 years old. And I felt ready to retire it. So you can find me on Instagram at Hey Quenisha. If you want to connect with the podcast page, that's Be a Better Baddie. And on TikTok, I'm still experimenting with that name because I can't change it. But I am Quenisha T there. So feel free to connect with me on all the social medias and let's be friends. And I will see you all later in the next one. Be sure to leave this video a thumbs up and bye.